Freeze trainer right next to me is saying it. You may hear him. Down goes Freeze.
Hey, how's everybody doing out there? This is Jerry from the Neutral Corner. Hope everybody's having a good Tuesday afternoon, May 20th, on a Tuesday night. Our guest tonight, and you know how we do it on the Neutral Corner. We like to chill, right? We like to get to know our guest, right? And find out how boxers helped him inside and outside the ring and get to know him a little bit. And our guest tonight is a little unique, right? And I love it because it started with comedy and then it went into boxing, and he's moved on from the comedy, but we'll get into his story. Fall River guy, I love it. Born and raised, just like myself, right here in the great city of Fall River, Massachusetts. But his story is unique, right? So I'm not gonna say who our guest is, but he got into boxing a little later in life, right? And it's okay. There's the Masters division, right? The Masters division is out there for guys my age, and so it's okay to start late and fall in love with something new, as he did with boxing. He never had much involvement in combat sports to most recently, and we'll get into that also. And he does a lot of skits that are hilarious. I just talked to him about some of the comedy that he does, and I remember following him on Facebook, and then I started seeing boxing stuff. I'm like, is he boxing? Like, I'm seeing him in the gym, I'm seeing him training, I'm seeing things going on. Then I see one of his fights, and I'm like, all right, so he's boxing. Because I was following him, and I followed him because he was hilarious. He made the best reels, the best little skits. They were hilarious. I love the Fall River guy. Everybody's going to know him by the Fall River guy. But he's moved on to that, and we'll get into that. He's moved on. Scott Medeiros is our guest tonight here on the Neutral Corner. So we're not going to hold back. We're going to get right to it, and we're going to get into a great conversation, and we're going to get to know Scott. Scott, why don't you come on in?
All right, how you doing,
man?
Oh man, I'm trying to get my charger hooked up, so I know we're gonna go a while. So I'm trying to get my charger.
You're good. You get your charger. Let me plug this in too. Let me plug my laptop. My laptop's yeah, we're good. We won't. We're good.
All right.
This phone in there. So, how's things doing, man? How are you,
dude? I'm fucking amazing. Good. I'm amazing, and I was not amazing for a long time in my life. So things are in this part at 41 years old. Nothing's perfect, but I feel fantastic.
Good. Fantastic. That's so good. So, and that's important that you feel that way. You know what I mean? And we'll get into a lot of that. But I got to ask you, because I know everywhere you go, people are going to ask you about the comics, the comedy, about the skits, the Fall River guy, the new plots. And that's why I started following you on Facebook. And then I started talking with you. And just before you came in, I was talking about on Facebook, I started following you because I seen the comedy, right? The skits, and I'm like, this guy's hilarious. He gets it. It's Fall River. Nobody can do it like he does. And then I'm starting to see boxing stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, is he boxing? So I started seeing you working out and hitting the bag, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then I see you post an event that you went into, a sparring event, and I'm like, he's boxing. So I'm like, well, I got to follow him more. And as I did, that's when I said, I got to have Scott on to tell about his story and tell about how his journey to boxing is taken. So let's start from the beginning, the comedy, the skits. Yep. Where are we at?
Well, first of all, appreciate you for hitting me up. You hit me up and I was like, oh, this is great. So I appreciate you having me. Appreciate your time. Means a lot. I'll get back to back in the day, 20 years ago, when YouTube was just kind of sort of popping, right? This is before Facebook was really even that big and technology wasn't crazy. There's no TikTok. I was like, I want to make YouTube videos.
Were you
And
like
me
a
and my-
MySpace generation? Was it
Yeah,
MySpace?
yes.
Yeah.
It was. We had Facebook, but you had to be in college. Do you remember that, bro? You had to have when Facebook first started. You had to have a college email to have Facebook. That's when.
Really?
Yeah, I swear to God.
I never knew
So,
that. Someone
yeah.
new we're learning already.
Yeah, so I was like 19, 20, and then Facebook was whatever. So MySpace. Anyway, YouTube was just popping off, and it was a way for you to express yourself, videos, much like TikTok is now. But now everybody can just quick. Anyway, me and my buddy Joe, we're best friends since second grade, and we share the same sense of humor. We are just like, and we were like bad. We've made some. Anytime you ever want to type in whatever bro films, we created that.
We're doing that.
Yeah, whatever bro films is what we started, and we started. It was a production company, if you will. It was me, him, great ideas, funny skits, and a camera. And we just did them. We put music to them, and we basically edited our own videos. We didn't have no writers. We did it all, and we made like over 100 skits, dude. I'm talking about we used green screens before people knew how to use them. Like we were like ahead of the game. I'm not trying to. People don't know. We went, but we never blew up. We did like this and that. We did our own comedy shows. So I know you had mentioned stand up. We used to do our own comedy shows. So we went to Staples. And this was after we started making videos. We made tickets. We went to it was you remember the Sky Lounge in Fall River?
Sky Lounge.
It was a bar that was in a building. Anyway, we went to them and we said, we wanna rent this out for $200. We're gonna have a comedy show. And they said, okay. So we charged people $10 a ticket, and lo and behold, like 200, 300 people would come to our shows. That was overwhelming. We didn't know. It was all local people that were just watching.
You didn't know the effect YouTube was having, right?
Exactly. We didn't know, and it was all local people. And this is before the Fall River guy thing, right?
Okay.
So we were doing stand-up. We did skits. And we did, I think, 4 or 5 shows in a couple of years. And I mean, it was, everybody was there for us. It was so cool. Nobody else was doing that shit. And then we got older. I went through a lot of shit in my life, mental health-wise, which I'd love to talk about in general. But that kind of died off, but it went strong for like 10 years. So whatever bro films, shout out to Joe. We had a blast. Then I started, now Facebook's popping, Instagram's out, and Snapchat's out. That Fall River guy video, which to this day, people still, an hour ago, I went to Minerva's and the guy was like, I moved to Fall River. I know you're the Fall River guy. I'm like, all right, cool. Can I just have my food? So that was 8 years ago, bro. That was 8 years ago where I made, anyway. That video, people don't know. I was warming up my truck in the winter, and I was going to the gym. I warmed my truck up, and me and my cousins from New Hampshire, they understand that we were Snapchatting each other back and forth, and that's all I was doing. We were laughing, crying, laughing, and I was like, pretend I needed a job. And I said, you know what? This is funny. Let me just make a video, and I made it and put it on Facebook. Went to the gym. Didn't think none of it. I got back, and it was everywhere. Yeah. Within a few hours. And that was the first time I ever realized what viral was. I was like, oh shit. And that
went viral.
Oh yeah, it went viral. It got I think that one still has like 2 million or something, which is whatever. And then the first one, I don't even know how to find the first one, dude. That's how bad it is.
That's crazy, man.
And it was cool, but at this point, I hate that fucking video. I fucking hate it, dude. I'm just because I'm in a different part of my life now, and this is where we can get to. And then I'm not giving you a whole timeline, but basically I went through a lot of mental health stuff throughout the last I don't know, most of my 20s, to be honest, most of my mid 20s. Wow, and then
so familiar with me. Yeah.
Most people, bro. That's why the thing is, dude, I tell you, I'm an open book, because when I went through a lot of stuff, and I went through a lot of stuff in patches, but when I went through the worst part, a lot of people keep it in, right? Especially men. They keep it in. For whatever reason, bro, that made me feel worse. And what made me feel better was somebody listening to me and going, it's kind of like the Me Too. You remember the Me Too movement? Mm-hmm. I felt the same way, bro. I would have stretches of weeks where I was horrible, dude. And I don't really want to get into the specifics of that, but it was bad. And everybody's been through some shit like that. And my shit just lasted a long time. And I got stuck on a hamster wheel. I wasn't getting the right help, and I was drinking, and I was doing coke, and that was just a way to
mask it.
That's it. It just comes back in the morning. You know what I mean? You can only shove the shit in the closet for so long. Anyway, what the point I'm making is I would tell everybody like that people are like, hey, what's up, Scott? How you doing? I'm like, I'm awful. I'm fucking awful. I'm struggling. I don't know what it is. And I swear to God, dude, 95% of the people I would talk to, some people I didn't know, strangers, all was like, yo, I hear you. And I get like tingles because it's amazing what that opened my world up to, that everyone has shit. Some people deal with it better. Some people learn how to work with it. Some people don't even know that's going on, but everybody has their shit. And once I realized that, I started putting, these are the videos I like. If you ever type in my name with Scott Medeiros Depression or Scott Medeiros Anxiety, you will get a handful of videos of me talking about what it's like for me. And so many people come up to me still. It's either the Fall River guy or people come and go, dude, thank you for those videos you put out. Like, I've had people literally say, literally, more than one person has messaged me going, you saved my life with that video.
That's amazing.
It's amazing, bro. It let people know that, like, so people see me, I'm a guy, I'm ripped out right now, I'm boxing. My life seems great on the surface. It is great right now. But, like, to know that, like, I still have shit that I deal with helps everybody know, like, it's kind of like a Me Too thing. You know what I mean? And if I can come out here, bro, and I can go, I say I want to box. And within a year, I'm boxing in front of people. I'm training. It shows people that, and I came from a place, dude, where I lived in a mental hospital. I lived in a mental in 2000 and when did COVID hit? Was it 21? 22, 2022. The whole year I was bad. I lived in 3 different hospitals. I was in and out, and my wife held it down here. But I was gone, bro.
You're blessed to have a wife like that, man.
I'm blessed, dude. She saved my fucking life. So I was not well in 2022 in a way that I never thought I'd be. And so I ended up getting out of it with a lot of her help. And she stuck by me, bro, in ways I can't. She's a smart woman and she loves me to death. And when I started to get out of it, it was a slow get out of it, by the way. It was never like a snap. When I started to feel better and started to figure out what was going on, it's trauma, right? It's childhood shit. A lot of childhood shit stays with you. It's not necessarily abuse. It could be, but it's just bad thinking patterns. And they start when you're a kid. And if you don't fucking fix them, they stay with you. And it's bad. So when I started to unravel that shit with I had counseling and I had my wife. And when I started to figure it out, bro, I was like, oh my God, I've been wasting so much time stuck in my own head. I'm fucking going to be 40 years old. Let's go. And that's what like rocket shipped me into my life right now. I was like, nope, I quit my job. I was at a software company for 14 years. And it was only because it was the only stable thing in my life. I wasn't stable. That thing made me go to work. You know what I'm saying? Kept me on a schedule. I quit my job. I said, fuck this. I had already started selling motorcycles and cars on the side. I was like, dude, I made a few times. I made more money in a weekend than I did in a month there. So I was like, I got this. And I knew I could fall back into that. Cause you know what I'm saying? The mental health stuff you're never going to get rid of it. It's just managing it. I didn't care. I was like, I got this. My wife will hold me down. If I got out of that shithole, I'm good. Like I can handle anything. I quit my fucking job and I made buku money the first year and buku money the second year. And it's just not stopped. And that just brings me to the boxing thing. So I said to myself, bro, I always felt, I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I always felt like a pussy. All right. That's the word I'm going to use. I had very bad self-confidence in myself.
You think that comes from, I don't mean to cut you up, but I just want to, you think that comes from the past too?
Yes.
That thinking process?
100%. 100%. Not having any confidence comes from when I was a little boy. And I'm not getting into why, but yeah. And so that stuck with me. Yeah,
can I?
Please.
I don't want to be rude, right?
So, no, I'm rambling. Please cut me off.
No, Scott, because you're touching on points in my life. I'm in my 50s. I'm going to be 54 June 1st. My wife will be 55 June 1st. We both share the same birthday. I've been married 32 years. I have a son that's a school teacher. And I got a daughter that's in nursing school, an amazing mom, 2 kids. I was in that dark place too,
Yeah.
that you're talking about. So I can relate with you. And it's funny how you and I never discussed this off air, on air at all. I wanted to know your story about boxing and how it got there. And listening to your story now, this is way more than boxing. People don't understand depression and being in that dark place, right? And when you are and you get to a moment where, like me, similar story, right? But you're in that dark place, and when you finally get out of it or start to get out of it a little bit, I think it gets better with age. I do. I really feel the older you get, the more experience you have in life, the more understanding you are to your illness, because you'll never get rid of it. Like you say, you manage it. You know what I mean? But I feel it gets better with age. You know what I mean?
I would agree. I would agree. If you asked me to go back in time, be 25 again, I'll shit myself.
There was time, you're right, because there were times, and I'm saying things for the first time now on here I've never spoken about, and I need someone like you, because men's mental health's an issue.
100%.
It's an issue we got to talk about, and just mental health in general.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, to be married 32 years, to have a daughter in nursing school, to have a son that's a substitute teacher at Derby High School, finishing up in college, I would have never have thought I would be where I am right now. Never would have thought that in a million years. If you would have told me when I was 32 that, hey, Jerry, you're gonna reach 32 years married, your daughter's gonna be doing great. Her husband, my daughter just got married. Her husband, my son-in-law Justin, the guy that around, great family man. So if you would have told me that this would be my stitch up. My daughter would be married to a great guy with 2 kids. My son would be finishing college and substitute teaching. I would be married for 32 years. I would have that. I would have said to you, no way, you're crazy. Because I didn't come from that environment.
Yeah.
I didn't come from none of that. So
you broke the pattern. You broke the cycle, which is
with a lot of help.
Well, you should. We're not meant to lead this life, dude, like with no one with us, bro. We're going to walk into walls. You have to do it with help. And that's what you're saying with men's mental health is it's time now. Like that's why I came out and said all that shit and all those videos, and men have come up to me and they're still like, thanks for that video. And I'm like, this is life-saving shit. And like most men suffer. And it's women too, so I don't want to like.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I understand that.
It's just more of a stigma with the men.
Men, because we've always grow up, don't cry, be strong, be tough. You know what I mean? And that was the environment we grew up in, and I think that's what damaged us. And I'm not saying the way we do things now as parenting is right. I'm not saying parents of the 2000s are right, and my parents when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s. Was right. I'm not saying that we're doing things, but we've evolved. We've gotten better. We've learned from our mistakes. You know what I mean? I've learned from my mistakes. So I think it gets better with age. And so when I say men's mental health, I mean, that's what I mean. We've never talked about it. It was something you couldn't talk about. Oh, you're weak. What do you mean mental health? I'm emotional. I can watch a boxing match.
Yeah.
And stop crying, not boo-hoo-hoo, but tears coming down my eyes because I know I fucked that up in my life because I had it. I had a great trainer, Ronnie Como, out of CYO Boxing, and that man tried to he did change my life, but I thought I knew everything at a young age, was going through a lot of mental health issues and kind of strayed off. So every time I watch boxing on TV and I get a little emotional, it's because I know deep down in my heart and in my soul, that could have been me. I could have been good because I was really good in the gym, man. So so from your dark days and your mental health, how is that what guided you towards boxing as an outlet, or tell us that?
It's a good question. In a way, so I'll tell you what I was trying to say before, and this is, like I said, please interject like anytime. That's fine. Because that's what. So I'll go. If you don't put a stop on me, I'll go. I felt like, so I had a lot of issues in growing up as a young man and in the 20s, to the point where like I would look in the mirror and I would see a man, but I felt like a little boy. I felt very weak. And again, that ties to my childhood. Not gonna get into it. Don't really need to. When I broke out of this shit though, it took a while. When I broke out, I shed a skin, and I came out. I was like, wow. I look in the mirror. I was like, I finally feel like a 38, 39-year-old man who's me. Because one thing about anxiety, right? I like to call it like little Scott. So it's me. Little Scott is the little boy who never got what he needed. You know what I'm saying? So he always is in there crying, and that's when my anxiety would come out. And when I was always trying to resist that. So what resists persists, right? So if you're always like, your feelings are coming up and you're like, nah, they're just gonna find ways to come out no matter what.
In other ways.
Yeah. So my wife really helped me figure that out. And she was like, I was so afraid of my anxiety, bro. I had fear of fear. I had like double fear. You know what I mean? When I would feel the panic come in, I get so scared. And it got to a point, it was so bad. And so after years of this shit, I finally said, when I get worked up and nervous about something, see, I wouldn't just get nervous. I would panic about, it didn't matter what the external shit was. I had this panic problem. You know what I mean? I had a very severe panic problem where my body was just used to going in panic. And I would resist it so much and get so scared of it, it made it worse. Basically, what I did was I allowed it to come in and like gave little Scott a seat at the table of my life. And I said, all right, come on. Because if I seen a little boy crying, I wouldn't kick him away. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I started to it's going to sound crazy, but I would parent my inner child. And that was the beginning of me like healing big time. And so when I got out of this, again, I shed my skin. I felt like the most manliest man, not tough guy, just manliest version of myself, the best version of myself. If I was an iPhone, I felt like the iPhone 16. You know what I mean? I felt like just the best part of me. And that was so beautiful. And I still feel like that now. I'm upgrading every month. I'm still learning. I'm in therapy. So I'm in everything. And so I'm growing all the time. And I just want to say, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You just want to say, finish that.
Just want to say with the boxing, I always felt like I would watch MMA, UFC. I'm a big UFC guy. And I always said to myself, not me. I could never do that. That was my self-talk. Oh, you're not a real man. And this was me going, let's see. Let's fucking see. And I'll tell you.
Challenge yourself.
Absolutely. And I didn't just walk in there like an idiot. I walked right into Bernardo's boxing. I walked into Love's boxing gym. And I walked into Regiment.
Yep.
And I said, I don't know people. I know this guy. I don't really know you guys. I'm not here to prove anything. I don't know shit. But I need to learn how to fight. And so Jorgen De Castro was the first person I ever hit a mitt. He did, and he's a hero of mine. The guy knocked out Justin Taffa. So like he's in for him. I'm like, he taught me how to hit mitts. And after a month, I was like, I know I'm not good enough, but I need to spar. And he said, come to Regiment on Sunday mornings. And then, Johnny Viveris? Oh, no.
Yep.
Johnny V?
Yep.
Johnny V beat the shit out of me for 2 months.
Yeah. You're learning. You're learning.
And that was the beginning, bro. That was the beginning of my journey.
So, Marcus Bills steps in and he says, I relate so much to that, Scott. I appreciate you being open and willing to discuss the insecurities and anxiety. Thank you.
You're motherfucking welcome. And this is what I do. And just so you know, I'm not supposed to tell anybody this, but me and my wife already shot a podcast. We've already shot episodes. I haven't told nobody, but it's not for comedy. This is my wife is a wizard. So she's a wizard. She's a parent coach. But she is
the one that didn't want to go to the mall on vacation.
What's that?
She didn't want to go to the mall on vacation.
What do you mean?
I see the video, you guys crossing the bridge. She didn't want to go.
Oh, yeah. She was making fun of her kids. Yeah.
No, so I laughed my ass off. I'm like, oh, yeah. No shit. That's the way kids are.
She's in my mind, a very brilliant person in terms of emotional intelligence. So we have these conversations since we met. And I'm always like, damn, I wish people could listen to this. I almost feel like we're jipping people out of not. And that's where she finally got the courage to be on camera. And we do our own podcast, but it's going to have a lot to do from my side to help men with men's mental health, and her side to just kind of, she's just got the answers, man. I don't know. She's a wizard, bro. And so that's why, like, I love when people, that's why, like, I don't ever hold anything back. When I see somebody having a bad day, I literally go, why? What's going on? Oh, my bills. No. Underneath that, what's going on? And when you fucking take that external stuff, you dig, you go, you can find it. And that's when you got to but that's the only way to fix it. You got to find what's really going on. You know what I mean?
Mm.
If you're constantly crying, right? You can't. Why are you crying? Well, because today this happened and that. But you're crying because you're upset. There's something you're not dealing with
There's
life.
underlying issues from
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. And I think anybody struggling with mental health, please reach out
Oh
and
God,
get
please.
that help. Talk to somebody you love, man.
Yeah.
I mean, so Scott Medeiros, depression and anxiety, or is it just
You could type if you go into Facebook, and you type that under videos, you should find stuff either Scott Medeiros depression or Scott Medeiros anxiety. I've done a video 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 6 years ago. They're all there, and they still hold water. Now I've learned a lot since then, but I won't take them off because they still hold water. Like they still
right?
there's a video out there. I think it might be, if you put Scott Medeiros anxiety, that might be the one. There's one out there where I explain what anxiety feels like when I had it bad. It was a panic disorder what I had, and it was like, I explained it like this in the video. It was basically like, when you're a little kid and you go to the mall with your mom, okay, you're and then you're looking at clothes and you look and then you can't find your mom, and you're like,
Your stomach drops out.
You get the whole warm chest, heartbeat, sweat. And then I was like, picture, this is where it gets fucked up. Picture that happening, and then like the dial goes up and somebody takes the dial and throws the fucking thing away.
Ooh.
You get stuck. Bro, that was the beginning of my downfall, dude. It was the scariest, most terrifying time in my life. I got stuck in a panic, dude. And it happened.
Where did you have your first panic attack? Do you remember? Because I remember. Because I deal with anxiety and panic attacks, just so you know. So
my first panic attack that was I had a couple when I was a kid, but the real bad one was 2016. I had a health issue, and I thought
the shit out of you.
Scared the shit right out of me, bro. And what happened was, like, anxiety is a part of us as mammals, right? Animals have it too. Thing is, animals can shake that shit because they don't think ahead. They're not conscious like we are, right? We're conscious of being alive, so we can think too much, and that just revs it up. And so what happens is you're supposed to get anxiety, panic. Then you find your mom, and everything starts to dwindle. What happened is I had a health issue, right? And I was really bad. Then I finally figured it out after 3 weeks. I wasn't going to die. Everything was fine. But my nervous system, dial was gone. And so I was stuck in a panic about this. I don't know where my keys are. I mean, I would have a full-blown meltdown. It wasn't about the keys, right? There was underlying shit. And it really came down to little Scott. I never dealt with little Scott. So when life was going good, Big Scott was here. I was cool. Everything was good. But as soon as things got a little weird, he'd come up and I'd feel like a little kid again. And
anybody that's dealt with anxiety, panic attacks, man, I'm going to tell you, it can take you to your knees.
Vicious.
Be bigger than any punch. Anxiety, anxiety, panic attacks will take you to your knees and put you out permanently if it wants to.
Absolutely.
It's days. Like, people don't understand. Oh, get over it. That drives me, and I don't usually say this, but that drives me fucking insane when somebody says, just get over it. If I could get over it, don't you think I would get over it?
When you get that, when you hear that, that's okay. I don't get mad at that person, but that's not the person you need to talk to. That's all. They don't understand. And good for them. Congratulations, because it's awful. And you're right.
Yeah.
You can, for days. What happened was, bro, I had anxiety so bad, and we're talking not sleeping. I'm on so much meds, bro. And I know people say
lithium.
That's the one I haven't done, was lithium. That's the one I've never taken. No, I've taken like everything else.
If you take lithium, make sure your doctor gives you Inderol.
Okay. What?
Because you're gonna tremble inside, baby. I want to be on your podcast when you're going to go on and talk about. Please have me on, man.
Absolutely. So with that, just so you know, we're starting in her office. She has an office. I'm in her office at the house. She has an office for her job. But I actually talked to somebody today, and they have a podcast spot. So, like, we're trying to get a legit spot with the mics, and you know what I mean. It's just we don't have the funds to do all that all the time.
But just do it. Do it because you got good content. I was going to give up the neutral corner because I didn't have camera angles. I didn't have high-tech microphones. Aaron Bonato, my son-in-law, and various other people said that don't mean shit. You can have all that shit and not have the content to talk
true.
about. Ain't nobody gonna care.
No, you're right. The content is really the number one. So I hear you, for sure. And I'll just So with that panic, I'll just end with the panic part. With what happened was like I got stuck, right? And then I got out of it. It was it was 2016. It was 3 months. It lasted 3 months. I'm talking about there was times like I had to take weeks out of work. And I was working. It was like, bro, I was just stuck. And I would have these periods at night where I would sometimes calm down, but they were like an hour or two. And then I wake up every day at 5 a.m, sweat and panic. So my body was stuck. You know what I mean? Then it happened a few more times. And remember, I told you 2022 was rough, right?
Yeah.
I'll end it with this. This is where it got 2021. It was November 2021 is when it started. It hit me right when I got COVID. I think COVID fucked my nervous system up. I was never scared of COVID, but we found out after COVID definitely affects the nervous system. We know with the smell and taste, right? That shit, something happened, bro. It messed me up so bad that like the next 2 days, I could just feel it coming because I could feel my panic episodes coming. They weren't just like 20-minute attacks. They were episodes that would last. I felt it coming. Sure as shit, man. It happened. So I was a very bad panic. My body was stuck in a panic from November of 21 to March of 22.
Wow.
Now listen, I'm gonna just say this. This is deep, right? And I'm gonna be very responsible, but this is what happened: is my mind was looking for any way out. Okay, it found one, and that was the only thing. I had very, very suicidal thoughts because it was the only thing that would get me away from that feeling. And I just explain it like this: if somebody walked up to you every day and punched you in the stomach every 10 minutes, at some point you'd want to kill yourself. Does that make sense? Just to get away. You're just so sick of suffering. My brain was like, I know a way we can get out of this. And that's when the anxiety actually got okay, because I went there.
So, and that's scary in itself, that the anxiety level drops when you're going there, and we know where there is the way out. And
interesting, huh? Interesting how the mind is. So my mind said, all right, we can calm down now because we have a plan. And so, long story short, I was open about it, and I got put in a lot of places, about 3 or 4 places. I spent a total of like 7 or 8. It was only 7 or 8 weeks inpatient, but I was in a day program. You know Corrigan and Fall River? Yeah. I was in Corrigan for 10 weeks, and I was their most I was on watch there. You know what I mean? And the staff there were fucking amazing, dude. They were amazing. Allison, Tony, like I still remember them. They might not remember me. Jen. Bro, I went through. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. What can happen is people don't understand. Why would somebody want to come? Yeah, because when you're suffering so much, you find that way out. You know what I mean? And luckily, like I said, with the help of my wife, and I started to figure out where shit was coming from. And when I started to heal it, bro, and it was a lot of therapy. Like I said, I shed skin, dude, and that's where I'm at now. I've never been this version of myself in my life.
You feel good?
I feel great.
It's like like you're free to be yourself.
I'm free,
and not
bro.
Care what anybody thinks.
No, that's the last thing.
And you're talking about mental health, where before, if you did, you'd feel weak. You feel like that the little you know. I mean, it's amazing to where you're at now, hearing your story, and that's what I like to hear. I want to hear the story of the person.
Yeah, I'm a success story, bro. For people who think they've been at the worst, I've been rock bottom, dude. I was scraping the pavement, dude. You couldn't get any deeper, and I came out of it. And that's what I still do that. I still make clips because I have the Snapchat and the videos, and my Facebook still has videos. I let people know, bro, and people still follow me. They follow me through all that because I put that on the internet. Not a lot. Like when I was real bad, I didn't post for like 6 months, dude. But I let people know, and people know where I've been. And so for them to see me where I'm at, and now I'm here, feeling like the world is mine, and I'm out here boxing. And when I met
Tell
my
me
wife,
about it. Let's get into that.
Yeah.
How did that all start? Take me to your dark place and how your journey to boxing started.
So I get out of this crap, right? And I find out. I quit my job, all that, and then I'm watching MMA. Me and my wife are huge UFC. We're watching UFC a lot, and I keep going. I keep having that same thing. You never, but now my confidence is there, and I'm like, I'd like to see how bad I would do it. I'm sure I'll get the crap kicked out of me. I'm sure I want to try. I don't ever want to say I'd ever tried. So let's just see. And so my wife, I also was having some anger issues. So that was combined with it. Nothing crazy, but some anger issues. My wife said, you know what, you should go train. And I said, let's. The next day, I was talking to Jorgen, and Jorgen did private lessons with me. I had to pay him, obviously, private lessons for like I think a month or maybe a month and a half, hitting pads. Hey, I didn't know how to fight at all. First of all, he said, like, do your stance. I'm obviously conventional, not southpaw.
You're standing southpaw.
I'm standing southpaw. Don't know all I'm used to is going like this. You know what I'm saying? And so he taught me how the bare basics, right? And I said, Jorgen, I need to spar. The next weekend, I was sparring with Johnny V. He beat the hell out of me for 2 months. And I learned a lot about cardio.
Johnny's a good dude, too.
I love Johnny.
Johnny's a good dude. I was going to have him on, then I had to cancel because I had the flu. It wasn't COVID, but I had the flu, and I want to reschedule having him back on. But go ahead.
Johnny V's a beautiful human being. I've asked him to be in my corner a few times. I love that guy. And so he taught me a lot he didn't need to. We did with sparring buddies. I learned a lot about cardio. I learned that the toughest guy is the weakest guy when he's tired. You know what I'm saying? So that was a great thing to learn about, was like how much I could not. And I was like 205 when I first started. I was really jacked. And all I was doing was airing my muscles out. I couldn't go past a round and a half. I was doing everything wrong. So then I went to Love's Boxing. Mike Bryant. Mike Bryant, love the guy. He taught me now the second.
Another good dude. Mike.
Love Mike.
Yep.
Mike taught me like the second stage of stuff where it was like footwork and jabs. He was the one who showed me the jab, and then he realized I have like a vicious jab, dude. Like a very fast, which I never knew. I would never think to throw my left hand.
Snappy. It's a snappy jab.
Wicked. My jab wins me fights, straight up. It sets things up.
You can win a fight off a jab.
Absolutely.
Most important punch in boxing.
And I'm lucky that my jab is so good because it's the most important one. He taught me everything, man, like that I know right now, which isn't. I know the basics, right? So I know I know 1, 2, 3. I can do all that good enough to handle myself with most amateur boxers, in my opinion. So he got me there, and then I just was like, you know what, bro? I started to feel like I was with gyms. You kind of feel like you're kind of stuck to them, right? I'm a very independent individual. I do what I want when I want, especially at 41. And so I was like, you know what? I want a bunch of exhibitions. And so I just went out on my own and just started talking to Tim at Gillette's. I talked to Jesse Icon, all of them. And I just was like, this is me. I want fights. I don't care if they're amateurs or exhibitions, whatever, get me in. And then I got on the first fight I got was Fall Fury up in Newport. And I did that with Mike. Mike was actually my coach on that one. Did that. And from then I won, luckily. I got such an amazing feeling.
What do you mean, luckily?
Oh, good question. It felt so good to win that first fight. I think I would have had a lot of trouble losing that fight because my opponent, it was his first fight, and then he didn't want to fight after that again. And I think it can ruin your soul. And I felt so high from winning, I could imagine how crappy it would feel if I lost that fight. That's why I say luckily. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you, that was your first fight, right, Scott?
Yes.
What did you learn about yourself?
That's
One
a good
thing
question.
that you learn about yourself. And it doesn't have to be a combination. It doesn't have to be a punch. It could be I started and finished. What did you learn about Scott in that one moment?
I think, bro, what I learned is exactly what I sought out for. I said, I can handle myself, and if I put a lot of work in, I can do whatever I want, dude. And that's everyone. And I've been hearing that since I was a little kid.
But the thing is, and you can, right? And I think you're, how do I say this? Because I like this. When you're dealing with mental health, I think it makes you stronger in certain situations than you think. right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because you've dealt with fear, you dealt with anxiety, you dealt with depression, you've dealt with a lot of these mental issues, and I almost want to say, it's probably not the right thing to, like, almost exercise for the brain, right? So
It is 100%. Yeah.
and when you get into certain situations, you know how to slow it down in a way where, because you're used to doing that when you're dealing with, would you say small Scott, little John?
Little Scott,
Right?
little John,
Right,
yeah, little
right.
Scott.
So you've learned those traits and those trades. Now they're helping you as you're older in your new endeavors. And I think that's why I feel, because your second fight was a lot tougher than your first one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what's helping, and I think that's what boxing really helps with mental health, right? Is
Yeah.
you're in that because you're scared.
So that's what I was going to say. So
Yeah.
you brought up a good point. There's panic inside the ring, right? And I don't know if the old Scott could have done it, because of the panic makes you so fucking tired, and then you freak out, you don't do anything right. When you can learn how to have somebody coming after you who's trying to take your head off, and you can learn to relax, which is still a challenge for me, the rest of life is pretty good. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you're in a situation where you should have panic, whereas outside, when you can't, you know what I mean? And I learned that, like, and I'm still learning that staying relaxed in the fire is a beautiful way to go through life, because nobody makes good
Say
decisions.
that again, Scott, for the people in the back. Staying relaxed
In the fire is one of the most beautiful things you can do for your life, because when we panic as humans, we make mistakes, right? Husband and wife fighting, angry, panic, right? You never make the right call. You never say the right thing. You never do the right thing. The only time you do the right thing, whether it be even for your kids, for yourself, wherever, is when you're in a relaxed state of mind. And so the longer you can stay like that, the better off you're going to be.
And I think you realize your why now.
Oh yeah, yeah. I learned a lot about myself, and it wasn't just the fight though. It was sparring. Like, I sparred so much, bro. Like, and not hard sparring, but like a good enough. You know what I mean?
But
Nobody
a
was
lot of
trying to.
sparring's good.
I think it's great. There was some coaches didn't agree with it, especially at the beginning. And like, I was like, give me some of the basics and then put me in. I probably sparred, dude. I started this in last March is when I first started. Oh no, I started sparring last April. So only a year. I probably sparred 500, 600 rounds, dude, with all sorts of guys. Dude,
Awesome.
I sparred with pros who obviously like toned it down for me, but I sparred Jorgen. I only did one round, but I sparred Jorgen. I sparred, Josh Parker, 19-year-old kid.
Yep.
From Loves, absolute animal.
Oh yes.
I sparred many rounds. He's an animal. I sparred many rounds with him, but I can't. At that point, it was tough. I was always so tense, so I would gas out one round. But I went. So that's why when I go with guys now, it's like, bro, I sparred smaller pros like Kyle
Cusick.
Yeah, I sparred Cusick. I sparred.
Hey, you spar with Kyle. Kyle's good, bro.
Kyle's good. Yeah, and those little guys are the ones that beat me up the worst because they're faster and they got more breath. Kyle, he tuned me up, and then man, who's this? Another kid that's just like him from Loves. I can't remember his name right now. But I went with killers, bro, because I knew I wanted to keep going in the fire because I needed to learn how to relax, and it's getting a lot better, man. I'm going in with
you knew what worked for you, and you were. So you don't have one particular trainer right now, right?
No, nope. Dude, I'm a free agent because, and that's the problem. Like I said, I need to be like, I know what I want to do. So teach me how to shop and what I want. You know what I mean? I had some coaches not wanting them. I was like a robot. Like, I couldn't even, if I like to do this, right? He didn't want me shrugging my shoulders. I'm like, and I started to feel like you're taking away from me feeling relaxed and good. You know what I mean? Just dumb shit like that. Like, I need to be free bird. Like, Jorgen was in my last fight. That was a tough fight. That guy was big. He was like 215 and he can crack.
But you guys were throwing punches.
No, we were throwing bombs, dude.
Yeah.
Bombs. At the end, I was trying to knock him out.
I could see that.
So Jorgen was in my corner, but that's what I want. I call Jorgen up. All I need is for Jorgen to keep me relaxed. My wife is in my corner too. I don't need you to say, You need to jab more. You need. I know.
Because those are things that it should have been done in the gym.
I got it. Right.
In the fight, those things you worked on already in the gym. So in the corner, it's just maybe a little reminder, hey, throw that jab, breathe, relax. Yeah. You don't have to get all mechanical, but you can do both. Where if I'm in your corner, I'm like, Scott, hey, deep breath, relax. Give me a deep breath before I give you water. Hold it for a couple of seconds, let it out. Here's some water. Hey, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to move over to your left, step over with the left hook. All right, come on. Hey, you're doing well here, kid. Let's keep it going. Come on, keep doing what works.
Yeah,
you don't need that.
You're a good coach.
No, but I've been involved in the sport for years. I boxed. My family's boxing been in my family since the 40s, man. I've loved the sport of boxing. But what I'm saying is, and so you know how to. So has anybody worked? So you know how to close the distance and get that distance closed, double up on that jab?
Mike Bryant taught me a lot, man.
Mike's really good, man, as a coach.
Very technical, man. I learned the technicality of boxing through him, and I was like, every time I go there with him, whether we were training or sparring or whatever, I was blown away at how technical boxing is and how it works. You know what I mean? It's just, and like I said, he taught me a lot. I think I was there for like 4 or 5 months. I got so much, and then I was like, okay, I'm taking my bag of tricks, and I'm gonna go do my own thing. You know what I mean? It wasn't like me and Mike are still friends. It wasn't that.
Yeah.
I'm very, bro, like I can't have nobody booking fights for me. I'll book my fights. I know I'm not going to go in there with a kill. I'm smart enough. Anyway, put it this way. That last fight, I was nervous going into that fight because this guy had knockout power and he doesn't play. And he was being trained by Jesse McCrae, who is out of Newport. Great guy, great boxer.
Yeah, he seemed that I think you caught up to his time. He seemed to be fast. But I think your timing killed his speed.
I got to a point I knew where every punch was coming.
Yeah, because so Scott, right? Speed kills. But what kills speed? Timing. And I think your timing caught up to his speed. And I think that's where you started to become more comfortable in the fight.
And I didn't even
slow down for you in your brain.
You're right, man. I didn't even put the fight out yet because I haven't got the full fight sent to me.
Well, I've seen clips. I know you've had clips.
Yeah, those are the clips you can pretty much see. That's how it went. It was just as the fight went on, I was seeing this is just, and again, he's an amateur boxer, so he seemed to be one dimensional where I knew even the jab wasn't really there. He was throwing a lot of overhand rights, and with the overhand right, you can see them coming from a mile away. So all I was doing was teaching what Mike taught me was the little slip, and the little slip, and the little roll,
little movement, it was absolutely 100%.
It was game time after that. Put it this way, I kept coming to the corner, and Jorgen was just like, now Jorgen has watched me evolve, right? So he started with me. He said, brother, you're great. You're doing everything good. Just breathe. And he wanted me to punch more, but I was starting to gas out, so I had to and at the end, before the third round, he just said, my brother, you're doing great. Do whatever you want. Like, he had that much faith in me. He was so happy with my performance, which made me, I was on like cloud 9.
Yeah. So when you're ever, and I know you like, and this is what I love about you, Scott. Like you said, you like an open book, but you like to take advice from a lot of people that have done the sport you're just getting involved in and want to give you advice. If you ever find yourself getting gassed, the worst thing you can do is stand in front of your opponent and try slipping punches. You can throw a jab. It doesn't have to land.
Yeah.
It doesn't got to land.
It's just to get
keep it in his face. Just throw the jab. It keeps him away. And as you're doing that, you're starting to get your gas back. Always take a nice deep breath in that corner. Hold it for about 3 seconds. Let it out slow before you have any water. But I think stay doing this. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Masters division.
I've heard of it. Yeah. What is that?
So what is what is that? I love the way you just said that.
I want to know, what is that?
So the Masters division is for guys that are not professional, amateurs, up there in age. Some of them are in their 60s, right? Yep. So I don't know if it might start at 40s. So I want you to Google Gregory. We just lost Gregory, who's a great person from USA Boxing, actually started the Masters division. So there's one in Connecticut there's one in Florida, and there's one in Las Vegas. Manny Fernandez and Manny Fernandez and Paul Iannuzzi. Look them up on Facebook, Masters Division on Facebook. Start following that.
Uh-huh.
Stay involved. I think you found your outlet, and I think you're going to enjoy it the more experience you get. And it's not so much to be under pressure. You're doing it to have fun and have that outlet. You're going to meet new people. You're going to meet people that have gone through a lot of that you've gone through. And I think you're going to do really good in that environment. And I think you're going to grow more with your boxing, because when you're in the Masters division, a lot of guys, they'll be boxing, but they'll tell you, hey, man, when you throw that jab, if I throw my jab, see what my right hand's doing, right? So they'll let you know on, and that's the biggest thing when you're fighting. Somebody throws a jab, they throw a jab. It may come back down here. It may come back because they get lazy with it. Take the Cadillac out, pop the Cadillac right back.
Yeah.
When they throw that jab, they're doing this. So you'll catch that. And in the Masters division, you learn a lot because these guys have been in the sport for so many years. Dude, stay with it. That's all I can say, man. Stay with it. You got me all pumped up and hyped out, man.
I can tell. Let's go. Half of what you said, I'm in the middle of. So I'm not going nowhere. And that's what I'm saying. By going to these different gyms, I'm making friends with all these people and good connections. And like, I have nothing but positive things to provide, to give and receive. So like, there's no like, I'm going to be with your gym and fuck this gym. And that's when I see that happen kind of, and it's terrible.
Now keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. I'm trying to get as many fights and meet as many people as I can. And a lot of this is just organically happening. You know what I mean? There's really no like plan. I'm getting into fights and the universe is giving me what I need. And that's just really the way the world works. If you just feed into the universe, it sounds like spacey, but it gives you what you need, dude. Just fucking manifest and like go. And so like
this guy, man.
Dude, listen to me. I was injured for that fight, that last fight. I had a bad wrist. So I didn't hit a bag for 2 weeks. And that made me nervous. So this is where the anxiety comes in. My brain goes, you haven't punched in a lot. What happens? You're going to lose your mechanics. But all I did was hit that bike, that 2010 bike, which is my worst opponent ever, by the way. Like, I just did it today. I do it every day. Every single day I do it, just the 8 rounds of it, which for people who don't know, it's 20 seconds on the bike as hard as you can go with what's it called? It's like resistance.
Yeah.
So it's
like almost like sprinting.
It's like sprinting with you're pulling. Yeah. You do that for 20 seconds and then 10 seconds and 20, and you do it 8 times, bro. I started off last month puking after it. and now I am at like I do like 1.5 mile, which for me is great. And I'm starting to just build this. I'm seeing the endurance build. So I did that leading up to that fight. And it was great. I ended up I didn't even feel my wrist, bro, during the fight. The adrenaline was crazy.
Yeah,
but like
feel it the next day and on.
Right. And so even though I don't have a coach, I want like people better know, like I'm taking this super serious. Like I'm in the gym every day. I lift, but I'm in the gym back at 4:00 doing the bike, or I'm hitting the bag, or I just had a procedure on my nose. And so Friday, I'm back to sparring Friday. Like and that's just one little nugget of my life. I got a whole family, dude, that I love hanging out with. Like there's so much I got in my cup. And I'm
it's
taking,
a good
like
thing
I said,
now, Scott. It's a good thing.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome.
You got your why. You know why you get up in the morning. You know why you do what you do. You know why you step in that ring. You know why you go and sell your cars. And like you know why. You got your why now, and it's not about us anymore. It's about our why. And we didn't realize that growing up.
No, it's funny you say that because there was definitely an aspect where I wanted to prove myself to some people in my life and be like, I'm not gonna lie, it was something like I want like I'm tough. And that went out the window while I was sparring, because like then I realized it really was me about me. It was me proving to me. You know what I mean? And I'll give you an example. When I first started boxing, I had an anger problem, right? Like road rage stuff. And I was very, very pent up. And I swear most of it was because it sounds weird, but I didn't know if I could handle myself in a fight. Like I know I'm athletic, but like I didn't know. And so that's what the energy. And now with all this boxing, believe it or not, I have like, if somebody was to be like, hey, pussy, I All right. And I
Yeah.
never could do that before because
That's
I'd be
cute.
like,
That's cute of you, man. Yeah.
exactly. And,
Yeah, I'm
and
like that.
it took a long time to get there, but that's self-confidence that I never had. And so
But that's but that's boxing too. And when I talk about high school boxing that we've and I hope now that you've been on the show, you kind of get what we're about. We're on every Tuesday. You don't have to watch the whole show, catch us. And sometimes we're talking high school boxing and how it will work and blah 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 blah. But that's boxing too. Once you realize what it takes to fight, the little shit, you're like, hey,
doesn't
that was
matter.
cute. Hey, did you come up with that on your own? You know what I mean?
know.
You just it
It's
deflects.
interesting. I never would have known that the reason I was so pent up was because I just was not self-confident. You know what I mean? Like I was scared. I was scared, and that was like a response to be like, I can't believe this guy thinks I'm weak. I gotta fight him, or I gotta yell at him, or act tough. And it's a little embarrassing that I was like that, but I'll say that like with all the guys I've sparred against, like I said, I've gone hard with a lot of tough individuals and stood up. You know what I mean? And that got me to what I needed. So now when little crap like that, it's a beautiful thing. I'm like, all right.
You look at that person, you be like, how
He's
long
hurt.
would he last with Kyle Cusick?
I know.
How long would he last with, what's his name? Yeah, you know what? I ain't got time for you,
It's
kid.
funny because you know what I do is I go, this poor bastard doesn't realize that after 30 seconds of swinging his hands while I'm like this, it's dead. All your fresh meat. And I had to learn the hard way.
Let me look, because I know we only got a little bit of time.
Yep.
How has boxing helped you outside the ring? We were just talking a little bit about it, but I want to know how you, when you started boxing, you were like, wow, I can do this. I always want to prove to myself that I could do this, and I wasn't a weak guy, so I proved it to myself. But now, tell me how boxing's helped you outside the ring.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, like what we just said is definitely the biggest aspect for me is for me to be able to just be okay. My wife sees it, just to be okay in situations that would normally rev me up. My wife don't want to be around that energy. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make her feel safe. And so what makes her feel safe is me being calm in the storm. And so that's what it's taught me it's taught me to be relaxed as much as I can be when shit's not going my way or things are really escalating or God forbid things go down in the world. You know what I mean? I mean, so I think that's what boxing has taught me. One of them. It's also taught me away from that stuff, just the fact that it's a bucket list thing that I wanted to do. I didn't want to say, hey, I got in the ring once. I wanted to say I was a boxer. And so what it's taught me is that, like, if I manifest enough and I think about it enough and I work hard enough, I can do a lot of cool stuff. And all of us can. That's the thing. Like, I'm not super special, man. I'm just focused and I have a lot of emotional intelligence. And so,
and you've been through a lot and you got a lot of experience.
A lot. Yeah, man.
You've gone through things now that young kids today in high school and in college are going through, but can't talk about it. And when they hear somebody like you, they're like, hey, wait a minute, man.
Yes.
And that's what you want to do, right?
That's what Sarah said. Sarah's my wife. Sarah said that one of the biggest things coming out of our podcast is going to be, because she works with families, so she works with women and men together, and she sees the men not emotionally intelligent, too scared to even talk about this stuff. And like, you're right. There are some people, I wouldn't say look up to me, but like look at me and go, okay, the guy's been here and there. He kind of seems like a tough guy and he's emotionally intelligent, can talk about his feelings. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I think some people think you can only be tough and then not talk about your feelings. But if you talk about your feelings, you can't be tough.
But you could be both. And you're showing that. And you're showing that. And let me ask you this, because we only got a couple more minutes. All the tats you got. You got a boxing glove tattoo yet?
No, it's coming next.
All right.
It's so funny you say that.
You've earned it.
I appreciate it. That means a lot. I appreciate that.
So let me tell you, man, I've been involved in box for a long time, boxed a little bit. And my problem was I loved sparring. I did.
Me too.
I loved it. But and then to get out and perform in the Golden Gloves, I was always told as a kid, you ain't gonna be shit. Straight up. There ain't no way nicer to put it. You ain't gonna be shit. I grew up in a project, single mom, 5 brothers, 1 sister. You know what I mean? So it made it hard for me to perform with that thought in my head. And that it's not for people to feel bad about me, is I missed out on something I loved because people put in my head that I wouldn't amount to anything, right? Social workers, through their little words they say, you don't know they're saying, they're not intentionally saying, right? So I missed out on some of the most beautiful moments in my life. I love boxing, but that's why I always loved sparring, because it didn't matter if you got dropped in the gym or whatever. Just, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like being out in the crowd. It was different. And back then, you walked into a gym, it was dark, dingy, and moldy, man. It was different, but the boxing's still the same. So to see where you were to where you come, Scott, man, I'm your biggest fan. The Neutral Corners loves to have you on, and appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come on. What's next for you? Are we waiting on another fight?
First of all, I appreciate you, bro. Like, this was great, and we'll definitely work together again. Thank you for taking the time to have me on. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I hope. And then my next thing is May 31st. I'm waiting for an opponent. As soon as I find out, tickets will be on like my Facebook. I'll put it out. But I'm trying to get a fight a month. As long as I don't get injured, I want at least a fight a month. So May 31st. Hopefully, I'm waiting.
All right, you'll let us know. The Neutral Corner will let everybody know. Scott, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, night. I'm so happy to hear you're at a place you can feel good about and can keep doing what you're doing. Keep talking about mental health. Keep talking about encouraging people. We need more people like you on this planet. Again, the Neutral Corner thanks you. Have a great night, man. Absolutely. What a great show. I love that. I love that we can talk boxing and mental health, right? Because it goes hand in hand, and it's just great to have someone like Scott tell his story. We heard his story going through mental health, right, and drugs and stuff, right, and now we're seeing him he's at a better place in his life, and he's boxing, and he's doing so much more. The comedy, I don't want to say he's done with, but he's put it away for now, and he's moved on to public speaking and talking about mental health. He's got a podcast coming out soon. We'll get all that information out and share that. Definitely going to want to watch that. He's got videos on Facebook, Scott Madera's Depression, Scott Madera's Anxiety. Go check those out, because I'm going to. And don't be surprised if you see a couple of those videos pop up on the Neutral Corner page, because it's important. We need to talk about it. We need to end the stigma. Mental health matters. Everything behind a jab, and we will be okay. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for all that joined in. Share the show.
Dundee, Ali's trainer, right next to me is saying it. You may hear him. Down goes Frazier!